Welcome to the Patriotic Podcast.
What is up, dude?
What's up, man? Welcome to the brand new Kinetic Studios.
Dude, fucking cheers to this.
Cheers. Congratulations.
It's like kind of a long time in the making, but not really. I mean, this came together in a week or two. Gotta give a huge shout out to Dave.
Dave, man, you're the man, Dave.
Yeah, Dave is my dad. For those that don't know, he's like my go-to guy when it comes to anything that revolves any sort of crafting.
Yeah. Listen, man, if you're old enough to remember the Dan and Dave little war that was going on for the Olympics back in the day, Dave was my guy, despite the fact that my name's Danny. I was hoping Dave was going to get him, Dave.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, new studio, a lot more functionality, and also it's going to help a lot with just consistency and getting episodes out, because it is a monumental task to set this all up and take it down, record.
They didn't know. Did you know he was doing that, by the way, at home?
Yeah.
I don't think they knew that you set this up every single time. And I don't know what I'm doing. So,
Well, and I'm also super particular about shit, and like I triple check everything, and I have multiple layers of redundancy built in and all that stuff, and so it's like it's just easier for me to bang it out. But like I said, we record for 90 minutes or so, sometimes longer, but it's at least 90 minutes of setup, and then probably an hour of takedown. But the shorter my takedown gets, the longer my next setup gets, because I'm just like throwing shit away. Yeah. So it's gonna be pretty nice to walk in here, click a couple buttons, and be up and running. And then remote guests will be able to like pull shit up like young Jamie.
I'm so excited. By the way, we are currently looking for a Jamie. We were going to be I slacked off. I'm supposed to be telling people to come interview with us so we can get someone in here.
So what we're looking for is a person with the capability to do two things.
All right. Number one,
you need to be able to push 4 buttons.
4?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
You can one-hand this job.
Okay.
The other is you need to shut the fuck up. That's the biggest problem. Like, you just have to be quiet, and it's so hard to do.
That's some misogynistic shit running through my head right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah, if you are capable of, pushing some buttons, it also wouldn't help or wouldn't hurt for you to be a pretty good Googler. But I mean, if for any of you that listen to the Rogan podcast, we're looking for our own young Jamie, and we've made like $1.30 on Google ads so far. So, I mean, I'm willing to split the pot with a young Jamie. They come in, break you off 40, 50 cents.
Got you. Yeah. I'm willing to forfeit my half of that.
Yeah. Honestly, I am too.
Boom. So you just got to raise.
Yeah. What an offer.
How can you beat that?
Yeah. We'll link our Indeed job posting below.
Listen, the show's going well though, man. We've got some episodes recorded. We got the new studio built, so we're really gonna hit the ground running. And in the last few weeks, man, things have seemed to calm down. The world's all gotten back in order. Peace is among us, and goodwill to all mankind seems to be at the cusp.
Well, now that Tucker Carlson's gone from Fox, the world can just breathe a big sigh of relief.
You mean because Don Lemon's gone from CNN?
Yeah. I'm clearly being facetious here, folks. I think that Tucker Carlson is going to start living his best life, dude. Just last night, we could probably pull this up. Just last night, they posted a video. Some reporter caught him outside of his house in Florida, and this guy was like on a golf cart, a sick golf cart, by the way,
custom
with his wife. And they were headed to like a date night.
Yeah.
And he had the biggest shit-eating grin on his face. I don't think that guy's losing a...
It's amazing how happy you become when you shed the media weight, I think. And that's just even the average person. If you can get away from mainstream media, but for someone who works there, I mean, You're a cog in a wheel. And
well, yeah, and you know, like it's just like any other creator that gets canceled. I mean, can you imagine the amount of money that guy would make on like Patreon or Substack or something like
Yeah.
that? Like one of those independent sites, he's gonna make a gang of cash.
And, you know, there's all these rumors that Murdoch fired him because of the lawsuit that they just had to pay to Old Dominion. So we'll see, or not Old Dominion.
Yeah, that was my first. That was my first thought. It was like, how much is this tied into that giant ass lawsuit? Because it's a lot of money, dude. $787.5 billion, and that was the settlement. They
Billion
wanted,
or
or sorry, million. They wanted 1.6 billion.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's a grip. That's a lot of money.
that's a lot of cash.
I don't
bro.
have, for example, I don't have that much money.
Yeah,
But, you know, those guys are going to land on their feet. They're going to find a place. They had obviously a large following because people liked the message that they conveyed most of the time. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I don't really care. You know, is there going to be backlash for Fox like there was for Bud Light or CNN for that matter? You know, like is there going to be this big
my
decline
God,
in viewers?
if you're like,
I doubt it, by the way.
if you're one of the marketing execs at Bud Light that did this whole debacle, are you not sending Tucker Carlson a can with his face on it that says like congratulations to however many years at Fox? I'm 100% doing that, dude. I'm trolling fucking everybody. Everybody can get it. Don Lemon can get it.
Everybody.
Tucker Carlson can get it. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Congrats, dog.
Yeah. Good luck on your new endeavors.
That would be pretty funny.
I mean, I did just see a thing. I don't know if they're going to give him, I don't know if he has some sort of Gillette or whoever it was contract, but Dylan Mulvaney was shaving his face. I saw a video. He's like, oh, I don't, you know, the gross. It's like, because you're a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I'm like, I don't care. You can dress up Halloween all year long. I don't care. Just leave my kids out of it.
this Bud Light thing has come up at a couple of family gatherings recently. And, well, it's funny because like Alyssa's mom, for example, is like Bud Light's her go-to. And she's like, dude, I don't give a shit.
Keep drinking it.
Are you kidding me? It's like, it's my favorite beer. And I don't see, she's like, even if I saw the face on the can, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking open it and I'd pour it into a glass.
Yeah,
Who cares?
I don't care.
But I've been asked like my opinion on Mulvaney herself. Trying to be as least offensive as possible, bro.
Yeah. I think that's very nice and diplomatic of you.
Yeah.
It's kind.
I guess what I don't like about it is that like it's a caricature of a woman. It's not. Have you ever seen a woman act the way that Dylan Mulvaney acts?
No,
because
only in movies or some shit.
Right? Yeah. It's like, and it's like Legally Blonde, and they're like, you're playing a ditzy, you know, but like.
I saw a thing that said this is blackface but woman face.
Okay, that is.
It's like you're pretending to be something you're not. You're appropriating their culture, their community, their this group of people, but you're pretending. And like I said, I don't care if people dress up and play Halloween all year. I don't care. Just leave my kids out of it. You're not going to talk to my kids about this shit. That's my job.
And like, dude, then you get into the whole Tampax thing. And it's just like, I don't understand how you could be so tone deaf.
That's the mockery of
like,
it.
And it is. And it seems like a mockery from a company that wouldn't exist. Well, I'm sure that Tampax is like probably owned by fucking Johnson & Johnson or something. But like that revenue stream would not exist if not for women and their need of a product that you are able to fulfill.
Well, in all fairness, a man developed it, created it. I'm an asshole. I know. Well, listen, the biggest problem I have with this whole controversy with the trans stuff, to be honest with you, is I don't want biological males competing with biological females in competitive sports. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Well,
if you want to do it one time, bring the boxing out for some girl that you don't like, let her get beat up pretty bad, and then you let America watch that, or the world for that matter, and you say, that's okay, that's fair. It's not. It's already happened. It's already happened.
It is. There have
MMA,
been like
there's-
MMA
yeah.
fights where it's a man versus a woman, and like I don't even know as a referee, I don't know how you call that fight.
I don't.
I don't know if
I have a backbone. I'm not doing that.
right.
Not a chance.
Yeah, I mean like the difference between that and like domestic violence is the venue.
That's right.
It's just weird.
That's exactly right.
It's
you go to
weird.
jail if you do it outside of this
It's
octagon.
weird. Well, I mean, like the same can be said for fights too, though. I mean, like
Yeah.
you get arrested if you're, but like,
Well, I'm a firm believer that essentially fine means legal for a price.
yeah.
You can do this. You just got to pay the government, and then you're good.
So, dude, speaking of blackface,
Uh-oh.
I wanted to show. This is the fucking greatest bit on blackface I've ever seen.
By the way,
Sometimes life or death
he's the best.
makes even the most offensive situation
Schultz is the best.
tolerable. Okay? Even racist situations. Like, for example, blackface is wrong. Racist, cannot do it. We agree? We agree. Okay, good. Blackface is wrong. Can't do it. Good. Cannot do it. Blackface is wrong.
He's going to try to change our mind, isn't he?
Well, I have to ask the blackfaces. I can't ask the fucking rest of you. Your opinions don't matter. It's up to them. They make the rules.
That's fair. It's fair.
Blackface is wrong. It's racist. You cannot do it. Okay? Under no circumstances, cannot do it. Then you see them Navy SEALs commercials. You're like, all right, well, kind of. Sometimes you could do it, right? The whole Navy SEALs commercial is like, look how cool blackface is on a helicopter. Look how cool blackface is on a boat. Blackface in the water. They can swim. I don't know if they say that. I might have added that part. I might have added that part. That's on me. But I'm just saying, life or death situation, it changes the stakes. Let's say, for example, me and you, we're going on a mission to save America from high gas prices.
From high gas prices. I know where you got to go to the Middle East.
$1.50, America is very progressive, right? We're like, you have to respect all the cultures of the world.
Yeah.
Gas gets at $5, we're like, yo!
Let's invade somebody.
They might need some democracy out there in the Middle East, Biden. See this $5? How do they make women dress like that when gas is $5, Biden? They just throwing gay people off buildings when gas is $5? Liberate those people. So let's say, for example, you and I are going on a mission, save America. The mission takes place at 1 a.m.
Uh-oh.
That is an important piece of the information on the call sheet.
On the mission
You
report.
have your complexion. I have the complexion of an iPhone flashlight.
Yeah.
If you don't give me blackface, we're fucking dead.
All
I'm a
right.
disco ball in the desert. They're gonna see us from a mile away. It's headshots for the both of us. You wanna see her again? You gotta paint me the fuck up, bro. Full thing. You don't have to do the lips and the tap shoes. That's a little bit much, but you gotta paint me up.
Damn it.
You gotta paint me the fuck up if you wanna survive. You're not gonna let me go on that mission with you without putting on blackface for your safety. Just like I'm not gonna let you smile. There's certain things, guys.
Bro.
There's certain things that we have to do so we get home. Those beautiful white teeth, lighting up the night. I can't take that risk.
Yeah.
He's the fucking best.
I love Andrew Schultz. You know what I love about him? And we may have talked about this in the beginning, was that he told Netflix to fuck off. And
Yeah,
do
he
his
bought the rights back.
Yeah. And I bought that. I watched
I
that.
did too.
Yeah. Because it was hilarious.
It's the first pay-per-view I bought in like 10 years. dude.
So
I think the last one I bought before that was like a like SummerSlam in fucking 2003.
So I watched him. I watched like it was like a Latina. It was some little small teaser that he had put up at that time for the thing,
yeah.
and I was like,
It was like the second he walked out, dude.
yeah. So I'm like, I'm half Mexican. I'm all in. And listen, my kids are black, so all this stuff is okay for me to watch. And see, it's not racist. I think it's funny though, because that's what comedians are supposed to do. They're supposed to make fun of everything. They're supposed to make light of all this crap that we take so seriously, so people can stop being offended. We can laugh and remind ourselves that we're human. We're all fallible. We all have issues, problems. People stereotype us, or they generalize us. They give us labels that we don't like. guess what? That's why we try to choose kindness. And when you can't do that, make jokes. In the military, we're great at making jokes. We make jokes about everything. In fact, Shane, I was talking to Shane today. Shane Parsons, shout out. Shane's one of our double amputees, and he was talking about how the NCOs are so good at insulting you and making you laugh and then yelling at you and fucking you up for laughing. You think this is funny. You think this is a joke, right?
Yeah. I
now
legit
get up.
thought you guys got, like, when you made sergeant, I thought you guys got, like, mailed a new manual of fucking insults, dude.
I mean, it's like, you get good at it.
Yeah.
You get real good
Well,
at
I told you, like, Sergeant First Class Ramirez, he told me, I think I said this on the pod once, but he told me that if I got any skinnier, we were running like 8 miles a fucking day. It was ridiculous because I've always been a very poor runner, and we PT'd Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in ROTC, right?
Yeah.
Which was more than most programs. Like, and we PT'd fucking hard because we had a couple SF dudes come through our battalion and shit, and like,
let's break these dudes off.
yeah. I mean, like, dude, I got
good officers.
I got smoked way harder when I got to, like, even just the guard or like TRADOC and the big army, but they still, you know, they gave us a piece, and we were running. I was always on remedial though, because I would max my push-ups. I'd get in like middle of the road on my sit-ups, but the sit-ups would crush my hip flexors, and then when I tried to run, I just couldn't fucking I couldn't pick my knees up anymore.
Yeah.
I always said that if we did the APFT backwards, like we started with first. The run, then sit-ups, then push-ups, I would have maxed that shit.
Yeah.
But I was just dogged out by the run.
Yep.
And so I was on remedial. And, of course, we would split into the APFT event that we were the worst at. So I was running like 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And they were far runs. And then I would run on my own too to try and get better or whatever. But I was also living by myself for the first time, like with no roommates.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't eat, bro. So like I would run all day and I would eat like a fucking turkey wrap when I got home. I was 140 pounds at my first military ball.
Damn.
And I walked in this suit that I'd bought off the rack, paid them like a couple $100 to cut half the fucking suit away so that it fit me. And by the time I got it back, I was even smaller.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Ramirez goes, damn, G, you get any skinny, you're going to fall through your asshole and hang yourself. And that was just one of the most Shakespearean insults that I'd ever heard. I was like,
fall through your asshole and hang yourself.
Beautiful. I'm hanging on to that forever.
Yeah. See, I loved, like, sometimes you would hear things and your brain would take a second to try to process. Did you just say you're fucked up like a monkey fucking a football bat?
Yeah.
What's a football bat? Why would a monkey be humping this thing? And why am I that now?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right. And then you just get yelled at more, do the dying cockroach. And you're like, all right, fine. You and your friends are dead. All right.
There's a lot of funny things in the military, dude. Just the other day, my buddy, he's a guide. I don't know if he's my buddy. I call him my buddy. But he's a fishing guide up in Truckee, and he lived in Rockland.
If you fish together, it's your buddy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And he worked up in Truckee a lot, and he recently moved to, I think, Bandon, Oregon, like where Bandon Dunes is.
Yeah.
So he moved up there to get the hell out of California. Shout out for that, because I don't blame him at all. But he posted the other day. He's always had a hella funny sense of humor. And matter of fact, we got on his boat, and the first thing he did was tell us this hella racist joke, and everybody laughed. Yeah. And he was like, all right, I was just trying to see what kind of crowd I have out here today. I'll tell you the joke off air. But but he posted the other day a big-ass jug of blinker fluid. Like somebody had gotten like a jug of water or something and made a label for it, and it said blinker fluid. And he was like, finally found some.
Yeah.
It just cracked me up. I was like, but dude, there's blinker fluid, there's grid squares, there's mopping up the sunshine, or sweeping the sunshine, mopping up the rain. There's one of my favorite ones was there's this big gravel pit, and some private fuzzy was fucking around, and his NCO made him, is when we were attached to Charlie Company 1A3 Infantry, I think, and he like fell asleep on guard duty, And so when they woke up in the morning, like he hadn't woken up the next guy. So the fucking commander the NCO wakes up and he's like, where the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when the sun came up, I walk out of our truck because we were doing whatever the fuck we wanted because they didn't want anything to do with artillery. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
And so
Pretty standard.
Yeah, so we were just dicking around basically for a week, and I got up and I'm like making coffee with a jet boil, and I see this kid, and he's got his blouse and he's just putting in a bunch of rocks in it, and I was like,
"What's he doing?"
And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, sir." He snaps to attention, and all the rocks drop. I was like, "Dude, really? Like, what are you doing?"
Well, he's gonna salute you now.
Yeah,
thanks, sir.
And he and he goes, I'm separating the male rocks from the female rocks. And I was like, oh yeah? And he's like, yeah, there's there's too many rocks. We don't need any more. And I was like, how long you got to do that for? He's like, I don't know, sir.
Till the sergeant gets tired.
Yeah, I was like, Roger that. Like Charlie Mike, dude. Yep. He started.
So, all right. I hate to do this to him, but I gotta tell a Lieutenant Kim story. So, first off, he embarrassed me one time because I think I may have, I always forget what I've told on this show or whatnot, but I was the FIST NCO, the Fire Support NCO. He was my FSO, the Fire Support Officer for Bravo Company, Berserkers. So we have 4 teams, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and then there's the headquarters technically of the FIST platoon, and we're all split up. We go with the infantry guys, and we go do our job with that company. But we train together before we deploy. We do all kinds of FIST certs, all kinds of stuff. Well, part of that was to do a little road march, little land nav. You got to go to a spot. So somehow, on the day we're starting our FIST cert, I get slotted to be like a road guard NCO. I'm like sergeant of the guard for these fucking clowns in the orange vest. The road's blocked off.
Yeah.
You can't drive on there. But they're standing in every parking lot, right, and every exit or entrance to make sure that a car didn't, they got like a little orange fucking glow stick, and that's it. That's what they're doing. Well, I'm going to be in charge of these guys this morning. And, I'm like, okay, whatever. This is dumb. The one time I could get out of PT, I'm supposed to be rucking, and then I'm not doing either because I'm stuck here doing this dumb shit. And so my platoon sergeant's like, finish that shit up and fucking double time out there. I was like, Roger. So my lieutenant's going to take my guys out there. The guy with the plugger falls in the back, and I don't know why they didn't either keep the plugger or make sure he stayed up there with them, but he's like starting to fall back. And I expect them to win. He knows I expect them to be the first team out there because they're going to go, the platoon sergeant's going to go drive out into this opening out in the woods, and they got to go meet him there. Most of it's on a trail. So they're driving out there. The fucking guy with the pluggers back there, he's got a map. They're going. After a little while, my platoon sergeant drives up next to them in the Humvee. And he's like, what you doing, sir? He's like, what? He's like, walking. He's like, where's your plugger? Where's Ski at? By the way, the plugger's the GPS system that we have, right? So he's like, oh, the plugger is with Ski back there. And he's like, yeah, he's back there a little ways. You probably should go back there and get like a quarter mile at least. You should go back there and get him. Well, I think we're almost here. He's like, yeah. Do you know where you're at? And he's like, Roger, Sergeant. And he's like, where are you? So he's like, he starts looking at his map, and he's like, do you have a pace count? Like, do you have any idea how far you're going? How many clicks? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, 3.2 clicks there. Yeah, you passed me a little while back, but I'll let you figure it out. So he gets back in the Humvee and fucking takes off. They go back, find Ski. He's like, fuck. So then they're like, all right, we got to go back. So he embarrassed me. I didn't like that. Well, when we were getting ready to deploy, this whole thing is getting ready to deploy. We're all training up. So we're going to Iraq. We're going to paint our sea bags and stick them in a Connex, and then they're going to ship that Connex over. We don't need that shit till we get there. So I told Lieutenant Kim that he needed to go talk to Major Hadney, who was the S3, and he was a bit of a jerk.
Dude, is every Major S3 a jerk?
Yes. Oh, Hadley. So he was an asshole.
Like Battalion S3, right?
Yes, Battalion S3.
They're always assholes.
He was an asshole. So I tell him, hey, sir, we got to paint these with IR paint, infrared paint.
Your sea bags?
Yeah. I said, hey, sir, we need the infrared paint, the IR paint. The 3 has them somewhere. You got to go get them from him. He's like, all right, roger that. And he knows, like, I'm going to send him because he's an officer. I don't want to go deal with the fucking 3.
Yeah.
That actually had nothing to do with it. The 3 was an asshole, and I wanted to fuck with the goddamn lieutenant.
Yeah.
Now, I assumed that the 3 was going to chew his ass and then ask who told him and potentially fuck with me and chew my ass. I didn't care. I thought it would be funny by then. Worth it. He didn't. He sent him to the headquarters first sergeant. No, I just gave him the first sergeant. You got to go get him from him. I guess they're using him over there. So they start sending him on a fucking wild goose chase. Best thing ever could have happened. He's gone for like 2.5 hours. He comes back, and he is not happy.
Yeah.
Hey, Sergeant O'Neill. I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, IR paint, huh? Good one. I was like, oh. Is that what you were still doing? I thought you figured that shit out like, 3 minutes after I told you.
They do have IR paint. That does exist now, at least.
I don't think it did then.
What year is this? I'm not
05?
talking about the military. I just do know
05.
that their IR paint does exist.
Yeah. It was 2000.
It doesn't emit light, but it's visible in the IR spectrum.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. We were just fucking with him. I thought it was funny.
One of my favorites is fucking this chick in my high school. I won't say her name. She got sent on like a 2.5 period wild goose chase looking for a 3/4 inch board stretcher. So she just like wouldn't shut up in class, dude. She wouldn't shut up in class.
Yeah.
And so the teacher, he just started writing, and he got to the end of the board, and he was like halfway through a word, the whiteboard. He's halfway through a word, and he like, instead of putting the little dash and just continuing below, he's like, I'm out of room. Hey, whoops.
Got her.
Will you?
Hey, soldier.
Yeah. Will you run over to like Mr. So-and-so's room and grab the 3/4 inch board stretcher? I ran out of room. She was just all right. So she went to the next one, and like, dude, she got bounced around a bunch of times, but her mom called the school and got super fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And,
Don't you be bullying my kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine that today? Can you imagine if kids had MySpace today? Remember when you used to rank your fucking friends? Did you ever have a MySpace?
Yeah, are you kidding me, bro?
Yeah, so I was talking to Alyssa about this the other day because like I was telling her about this whole Twitter verification controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's $8.
Right. But and like, if you care that much about a blue check, then fucking pay the $8.
Well, it allows you to do other things, right? Like you can post longer videos and stuff.
Yeah, you
like,
can edit your tweet or whatever.
Right. So like, I think that was the businessman aspect of it from Elon's perspective anyways. But anyways, please.
I don't think Twitter's ever done anything but lose money. I think that he's probably like, oh, we got to fire half these fucking people
who are doing nothing.
And we have to fucking start charging.
Have a business model?
Yeah. A business model that's viable.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, otherher's this is just a hobby.
Wait,
it was a hobby before. It was a multi-billion-dollar hobby.
I feel like working with the FBI is like that's a good job.
Yeah, it's pretty much a job. But yeah,
it's a business model, I guess, for some.
But we were talking about MySpace, and like, if you fucked up in high school, you would just get cut from the team.
Oh yeah, you're off my top 8.
You're just off my top 8, bro.
Yeah. My shit was lit too, bro. I'll tell you what. So I had the MySpace. Matter of fact, on that deployment, I had that MySpace. Bombs over Baghdad, Outcast.
Yeah.
Going hard. Raiders backdrop. Fucking, bro, my top 8 was solid.
Dude, I
even had a little blog. They let you start doing blogs. And I'm like, a rocket came through the wall last night. Like,
dude, somebody asked me the other day because they saw me coding like HTML or writing HTML, which is like super easy to do, right? Like I think I was changing something to bold or something, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And they were like, "Where'd you learn how to code?" And I was like, "First of all, I don't know how to code." But I was like, I have a MySpace knowledge of HTML. Like I can change the background color of this fucking page, no problem, because I used to do that in my MySpace. You know what I mean? And then you would embed the music player.
Yep.
There was code that like
you should have said Neo, by the way, when he said, "Where'd you learn to do that?" You should have been like, "Oh, Neo."
But yeah, dude, I mean, like, My top 8 was basically like 6 of my best friends, one of my cousins, and whatever girl I was dating at the time.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
So if you got bounced from mine, only happened once or twice. If you got bounced from mine, bro,
I had
kids would melt the fuck down.
like 2 homies from back home, and then it was the squad. It was the boys.
Yeah.
And you know, like when we talk about the funny stuff that happened, like the things that there's so much humor in the Army or dumb things that people do. If I tell a Lieberman story, I got some Lieberman video I could give you that'll make you laugh. Hot sauce video. It's pretty funny. But these guys, I mean, they did some really dumb shit. But you're at war. So you're like, where do I rank this on the scale of I should fuck you up right now for being dumb and not upholding the good order and discipline standard that the military tells you should?
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm human, it's funny, I'm probably going to die in 6 hours. Fuck it. You're an idiot, but that was entertaining. You know, I enjoyed the dumb things they did sometimes. Sometimes I had to go like stand in front of the man because of it, and him explain to me that I am responsible for them even when I'm off duty. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I checked the duty roster, sir. Wasn't my day to babysit.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck that. These guys are adults. They get off duty. That's their, whatever they want to do, it's their prerogative. I'm going to go take my uniform off and get drunk and hang out at the house or go fish and do something.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like on The Hangover when Bradley Cooper's getting in the car. He's like, you do not know me. You know, he's telling like the kids, the weekend. Like, you don't fucking know. These guys would call me. I'll give you an example. Hughes, my driver, calls me, and they're out. He has property out, and I think I spoke about him before because he could not get a security clearance because he had been blowing shit up out of his property before he joined the military, and he got a visit from the Alphabet Boys. So he's on a list. I get him. He's trying to get a security clearance, and I'm like, hey, why hasn't his security clearance, you know, cleared? Like, well, why isn't it active? So I have to go up. I ended up talking to the 1-star, and they're like, oh, yeah, we've had discussions about him. And I'm like, what? So then they tell me he was doing exactly what he was in the right space. Because I told him, I was like, listen, we blow shit. I'm a fister. We're going to blow stuff up. So he picked the right job.
Yeah.
And they're like, you trust him? I was like, hell yeah. So anyhow, for 4th of July, we have a 4-day weekend. He goes to his property outside of Dallas there out in the country. And they call and leave a message when he knows 2 things. 1, I'm drinking excessively, and 2, I'm lighting fireworks. I bought so many mortars that they thought I changed my damn MOS. You know, I want to have a good time. And if the guys didn't have anywhere to go, they're in the barracks. I brought several guys to my house because I was that NCO. Come over, hang out. You know, if you're gonna drink, stay here. You don't have to drive. And we're just gonna shoot fireworks all night. It's Texas, so that shit was legal. And he calls, and the message said something like, hey, Sergeant, just wanted your permission. We're going to shoot Holbert with the mortars. He's going to put his vest on, so everything's all good. All right, thanks. See ya.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I had to replay it 3 times. I'm drunk. Remember,
Yeah.
I'm drunk. I'm like, did he just say they're going to shoot mortars at the fucking... So let me call him back. No answer.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to call him back again. Hughes, you better fucking call me back. Are you using an issued vest to do this? We're taking that to war. This isn't test your equipment day, motherfucker. And it's like... they didn't really care. And they did shoot him several times with mortars. He went running. It was funny. But, you know, where do you balance that? These guys they're jackasses. He happened to be old. He's the one guy who was older than me. And I'm like, maybe there was another one's like 2 months older than me. But I was like, you're my elder.
Yeah.
You look like you're 40. I know you're 26, but, you know, you look old as shit. I need you to act like an adult, you know. But he still doesn't.
Nope.
They're funny.
That is not a prerequisite.
No. You know, this is what I love, though, because I believe this about leadership, right? And we're going to talk some more about leadership in a second, or our current leadership. So for me, leadership was always the ability to get people from different backgrounds and upbringings to accomplish a common goal or mission. It's pretty simple. Get a bunch of people who, you know, everyone's got their own baggage. Everyone's got their own shit. You get these guys to work together. We bicker, fight, like what we would call platoon on platoon violence was such a normal occurrence. It started going like your platoon sergeant comes up, platoon, attention, right, face, forward, march. And he would just move. He'd let you walk right into the other platoon, and then you start fighting. We're all out there fighting. That's what we're doing. Because they thought it was funny. So do I now. But they didn't, like the discipline we're supposed to have or show, it wasn't there necessarily when the guys go to party, but when it was time to go to work, when we went to the field, when it was time to put up the talk and time to set up your, we're going to do this FTX, we need to set up this or that, or, go attack an objective. This is what we're going to do. We're doing platoon lanes. We're shooting. We work so well together and get everything done as efficiently and quickly as possible. And it's like, how can we take these people who are from the same places that the same people are divided across the country? You got your Southerners, you got your East Coasters up north, all these people. You got Californians, people from Washington, and they seem to work together just fine when they're in the military. Or, I just don't understand how we're allowing, whether it's mainstream media, whether it's politics, just to divide us so much.
I think I think it requires a stronger mind to fall into followership, because to be a leader, you got to know how to follow too. There's two rules to a leader. You got to know how to follow, and you have to be able to encourage others to want to follow you. Because like a lot of people that I know like fancy themselves leaders, and they've got no followers. And I'm not talking about like fucking Instagram followers. I'm talking about people who want to join them on their mission. I think that's what drew me to you and Fawn. You guys have a very clear, like, you guys, like, if I were to ask you, like, what's your mission essential task list, right? Your medal, you would be able to tell me.
Yeah.
Whereas if you could walk into any number of fairly large companies here and you ask their chief operating officer that question, and they're just like, well, it's like, no, man, like you. And I think that decisiveness and stuff like that, I was just talking about this yesterday in a meeting that I had, and we were given a list of qualities and asked to pick which one we thought was our strongest. And the two that I picked on this list, because it was like, damn, I should have brought the list. Like on the list, it had empathy, it had altruism, it had connection, it had all these things. The two that jumped out to me were decisiveness and vision. And I think that a lot of leaders are probably, especially in today's day and age, are probably not given the opportunities. This is what I feel like I'm experiencing right now. So I'm kind of bitching right now a little bit too.
Right.
But I feel like when those are your priorities, decisiveness and vision, and you have empathy and connection and stuff like kind of further down on your totem pole. People look at you as like abrasive, or they look at you as like cold. Yeah. And I don't feel that way. I mean, like I care about every single one of my team. Like one of my guys who was far more experienced than me. He was an 11 Bravo, and then became 13 Fox, and he was one of my guys underneath me. I actually knew him. He started an ROTC with me, realized that it was bullshit, and was like, I'm just going to stay enlisted. And then we ended up meeting later in our careers. Army's a fucking small world. Yeah. You know that. And, he sent me a photo of us in like 2015 or something like that the other day. I hadn't seen this photo in a long time. And I was like, I care a lot about each and every one of those guys. And it was fresh in my mind because like some of the feedback that I've been given as a leader is that I am like cold and don't offer enough praise and things like that. But it's like, I'm singularly focused on what's next. Yeah. Like what's the next,
doing your job.
What's our 50-meter target?
Right.
And that's a term that, people use in the military too. And that's kind of stuck with me. Like, what's your 50-meter target, dude? And I think Fawn says, what's the alligator closest to the boat? It's the same concept, right? What do we need to knock out next? Because there's always fucking something to do. There's always something to do. And I constantly think of that when I'm sitting at a bar or a restaurant or something, and there's a bartender behind the bar that's just standing there. It drives me nuts. I'm like, dude, there's something to wipe down. Like there's something that you could be, batching out your next cocktails or something. Like I don't understand the standing around aspect that so many people seem to enjoy. And I think that that's been a big problem with, like with me internally in some of these organizations that I joined. I won't dime any of them out, but like what seems important to them, like a lot of these organizations that I've been involved with suffer heavily from "this is how we've always done it" syndrome. Yeah. And they're not willing to take chances. They're necessarily not even risks. It's just doing something differently. Even if I sit there and explain, the myriad of reasons why it will improve X, Y, or Z, it's safe. And I feel like people stagnate the same way, like when an opportunity arises, they're like, okay, I could go to this job that I would probably like a lot more than this one, but I got a comfy ass salary right here. And that's a big reason why I got out of mortgage. I could have made a shit ton of money in mortgage, but I would have hated it the whole fucking time. Yeah. And so I don't know, man.
There's a
People
price.
need to take more chances.
Oh, 100%. You can say that over and over again. People need to take more chances. I'm a firm believer, like the whole burn the boats, right? Like I'm betting on me.
Yeah.
And so I've been told that I'm arrogant or I'm pompous and I'm like, oh, it's confidence. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, you have self-esteem issues and I don't, because I have been down before. I've even been kicked while I was there. I didn't stay there. I talk about this often. Nothing ever stays the same. Things are always changing. The ocean is always moving. If you climb Mount Everest, you can't stay there. You will die. The highest point on earth, congratulations, you can't stay there. So with that being said, everything is always changing. And I don't like with the emotional reactions and stuff, because that's how I was behaving for so long in my life, where I would let how I was feeling emotionally, I would allow my behavior to kind of follow suit. And that was unacceptable. It was me allowing other things to influence how I reacted, right? And giving them power. I didn't like that. So I just, with leadership specifically, first off, you want to empower anyone who's on your team, senior, peer, subordinate, doesn't matter. You want to empower them. You want to encourage them. You want them to grow. That doesn't mean you have to go over there and give them a hand job and tell them how great they are. You need to give them a clear mission. You need to support them and give them resources when they need help. And you need to listen to them when they have bitches and complaints on how we can improve things, because that part is how you get out of the "this is how we've always done it" mindset. That will never serve an organization to success. It just won't. Because when you put all these other things before your client relations or your relations with the people who are providing the work, we can go back to the military, for example. Generals don't fight wars. The E4 Mafia fights the fucking wars, okay? The Samurais.
Thank God.
Okay? So let me tell you about these guys. They take apart these machine guns and put them back together in under 5 seconds. They blindfold each other, do it then, and force each other to race, right? Now, they also do things like, hey, doc, do you have a measuring tape? And then they start calling out, 6.5 inches, and they're having a dick measuring contest. Same group. Hell in a gunfight. You don't want to fuck with these guys, right? But they have discipline. So they know that they're not supposed to unleash hell on every single person all the time. But it's hard when you come back, and this is from a completely specifically a combat mindset coming back to civilian world. You have to figure out where to put that stuff, because you don't want that spilling over into your life. Ask me how I know. But when you're in a normal work environment, you're still going to have people that you don't get along with. You're going to have people that you disagree with, and you're going to have to figure out how to be an adult about that. How big on this is the total, or how big of an issue is this that you're willing to, one, confront the person and have conflict and see it through, right? And I'm okay with that if there's a reason, a purpose, and a goal behind it. If you're just
constructive,
right.
I think that it needs to be constructive.
Some people just bitch to bitch.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a solution, or if you're looking for a solution, I'm okay with that. If you're like, hey, look, there's my problem and I don't know what to do about it. Dude, I'm down with that. Let's talk. Let's figure it out. But if you're just like, Sally is a bitch.
Yeah.
I hate her. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I don't think I can work with her.
Yeah. All right. Don't quit.
Yeah.
But also I've learned that and this is, I thought, very interesting, loyalty is not rewarded in companies like it should be. You don't get promotions and raises like you should, versus when you leave that company, you leave for a bigger piece of the pie. You get more money, you have experience and things that other people are willing to pay for you, right? Or pay you for. So I'm a lot of people out there, and I'm of the same mindset. I'm very loyal to a fault, but it's hard to think that if I worked for someone, they wouldn't continue to pay me my worth as I grow and learn and become more efficient at my job, that I would have to go somewhere else to a competitor to get that. That sucks. Mm-hmm. That's bad leadership too, because you want to, promote people and give, like we talked about this with awards in the military, right? So you can be a field grade officer and you're going to get a Bronze Star even though you didn't do shit. And the people who were doing that real work, putting in real work, well, they're going to get an AM or an ARCOM or something.
And that just breeds resentment.
100%.
So it's
more divisiveness.
I actually had a.
Oh, you had a captain. I remember we talked about.
Well, I had
maybe it wasn't that story.
I had like what the fuck was he? Sergeant Major or something. We were on the fires, and I was a lieutenant leading, a group of 30 enlisted, and we were just cutting line and stuff.
Yeah.
And he like tried to give me a coin. I was like, no, dude, like, because he asked me how to pronounce my name.
Yeah. And
I was like, can we, like...
It's Sir, Sergeant Major, and then go ahead and give it to the enlisted guys.
Yeah, why don't you give it to one of them, dude?
Yeah.
I would have felt like an asshole if I did that. But,
I love coins. We got a coin.
Yeah.
Folsom Police Foundation coin.
I'm going to grab a beer.
All right. We got to put a coin holder up in here. I hope you guys like our new studio, and this is a great time to tell you that if you want to get tattoo, come down to Kinetic Ink Tattoo Company. If you need some custom shirts printed, there's no minimum required. We can do one single custom shirt. Come see us at Kinetic Threads. If you need your hair cut, you're in Folsom, come see Lucky's Barbershop. Thank you guys for being our sponsor, man. We're just going to keep grinding. If you're looking for a nonprofit organization, check out Warfighter Overwatch. Do a lot of stuff for mental health for the first responders and our veterans and their families. But,
dude, Lucky's just dropped a bunch of new merch, too. You got to go check it out because they only make like a dozen of every hat.
Yeah.
And then
they got some one-offs.
Yeah, they have some one-offs, too. So
I like those.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you, so switching, I was asked recently, I was on the news the other day, and I was asked my opinion. So
should we put it up?
Yeah. The Taliban told our government that they killed the person responsible from ISIS-K, who was responsible for the bombing at the Kabul airport, or the Karzai airport there in Kabul in Afghanistan when we were leaving on August 26, 2001. So we're going to have some of the folks who were there that day on our show, some of the warfighters, Marines who were there. Looking forward to having those guys on. But what was said was very little. They gave almost no details about who the person was, what his motive was, why they killed him. Because why is the Taliban doing our dirty work, number one? Why is the intelligence community accepting any of this? Why did we allow them to pull outer cordon searches? I have many questions, which is what I alluded to. And they cut most of my stuff, but it was a good, article.
Dude, had I known that you were doing it that day, I would have came by with my camera, and it would have been interesting to compare the full interview to.
Yeah, we should do that next time. So I didn't know because he called me that day. And he was like, hey, can you come down here? Can I come down to the shop and interview you? And I said, sure. Because we keep them on the wall. Those 13 that were killed that day, they're on the wall in Kinetic Ink Tattoo.
Details in the attack that killed a Roseville Marine. Here's what we know so far. The Taliban has killed that leader. And the thing is, they say that it happened at an airport. And here's what we know, based on the information that we've been able to receive. It was a suicide bombing. It happened at an airport in August of 2021. The attack killed 180 people, including Roseville native Sergeant Nicole G., a graduate of Oakmont High School. U.S. officials say the United States did not coordinate with the Taliban in the killing of the ISIS leader. And ABC 10's Luke Clary is live in the studio tonight
Wouldn't
with
that be
local
something?
reaction.
Chris, we've spoken with the family of Marine Sergeant Nicole G. We brought you the story of survivor, the Folsom native Marine Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews, who lost an arm and a leg. And tonight, a veteran's mental health advocate says that the killing of this ISIS leader may not offer comfort to the families of fallen service members.
America's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. U.S. officials now say the Taliban killed the ISIS leader who masterminded the airport attack that claimed the lives of 170 Afghan civilians, along with 13 American service members.
13 American families devastated, and a loss for words as to how this could have possibly happened.
Danny O'Neill has questions.
Signed up for the Army on 9/11. I was 19.
The owner of Kinetic Inc. in Folsom also runs a nonprofit focusing on mental health of combat veterans like him.
I don't believe the families will be comforted by this person's death today.
Photos of the 13 service members lined the walls of his shop, including that of Roseville native Nicole G.
Her entire family misses her every single second of every single day. This is not going to change how they feel. So for them, there's probably not any closure. This doesn't make them feel better.
Folsom native Tyler Vargas Andrews lost an arm and a leg in the blast.
10 minutes passed.
The 25-year-old gave emotional testimony to Congress.
Then a flash and a massive wave of pressure. I'm thrown 12 feet onto the ground, but instantly knew what had happened. I opened my eyes to Marines dead or unconscious lying around me.
He went on to describe the catastrophic injuries to his body and characterized America's withdrawal from Afghanistan like this.
The withdrawal was a catastrophe in my opinion, and there was an inexcusable lack of accountability and negligence.
On that, O'Neill agrees.
I can't tell you how important it is that we say their names. For the family of those other 13 service members on our wall, all I can say is we will keep asking the tough questions until we get the answers, because power comes from the people and they owe us the answers.
And that video that you saw there, Marine Sergeant Vargas Andrews, comes from a March 8th House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing. He's been through dozens of surgeries.
Dude, do you think?
Well, by the way, they've provided no evidence as to why they know this is the guy that did it.
Yeah.
I don't believe him. I don't trust him. Show me.
So 2 thoughts. One is, how wild would it be if one day we find out that this was a coordination between the U.S. government and the Taliban? Like, what?
Which I believe right now.
Yeah, like that would be insane.
Hey, we've been tracking this guy. We have some intel.
It kind of reminds me of the whole cartel thing where they dimed out those 5 dudes that kidnapped the Americans. And then second, do you think newscasters always talk like that? Like, tonight I'm going to have dinner and watch the NFL draft. Fucking
like
weird.
Politicians, you mean?
Like, why do they talk like that?
Like they talk like politicians talking and they stop, wait for you to clap.
Yeah, wait for you to clap. But like,
yeah,
how weird would it be if we talked like that the whole time? Or how weird would it be if somebody just got on the news and they're like, yeah, so today.
Well, listen, this is a show about nothing, and as such, yesterday I watched 1.5 Seinfeld episodes, and one of them was the Maestro episode, and it was a guy who's a conductor and wanted to be called Maestro.
Yes.
And he's with Elaine. He starts dating her, and he wants her to call him Maestro. He's mad that Jerry won't do it because Jerry's like, hey, Bob or Dave, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, guy.
He wants you to call him Maestro.
Yeah, he's like, hey, he really doesn't like that. He's like, yeah, but listen, you have to call me. I forgot what he's like. He's like, you got to call me awesome. And she's like, what? He's like, I am awesome. He's like, oh, because he is a conductor. He's like, well, I am awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, I will never forget this one time. I got a written loan application, right? And God damn it. I got a written loan application. And I later learned upon this guy calling me, because I thought at first like somebody just was like messing with me or whatever. So I was like, I just kind of ignored
Was
it.
he a Maestro? This is gonna be good.
So his last name was like Maestro.
Mm-hmm.
It was spelled Maestro, like a maestro.
Yeah.
His first name was Anal.
Like A-N-A-L?
Spelled A-N-A-L. So I get this thing. I get this, Danny, I got a loan app. And I'm like, the anal maestro wants a fucking loan. And I literally just ignored it. And then I got a call. From the number on the app, like right after it sent, because it was digital. And I answer it, and it was him. And he was like, "Hi, did you get my app?" He's super thick accent. And I was like, "Yeah."
Is this Kramer, the ass man?
Yeah, and he just like, "This is a now." And I was like, "Okay."
Hi, now.
Hi, dude. Yeah, and I ended up doing a loan for him.
Do you remember
Hope he doesn't watch this.
Do you remember the little video I sent you? The shirt that you lift up?
Wait, which one?
It's like all these dots and dashes, and you lift it up, and it says anal. After you sent me the thing about the pictures, I
saw that.
Oh, it's on. I'll show you later.
That's hilarious.
Anyhow, yeah. See, this is the humor stuff I'm talking about, right? Like, listen, if you can't make some sort of like anal beads joke or, some sort of terrible joke out of the situation, what good are you? Because hear me out. I've been in
dark humor. Dark humor is like a solid leadership quality, dude. You have to, or
Yes.
at least like tolerating it, because your guys are gonna it's gonna happen.
When we would get into like gunfight and chases in Baghdad, we're in a Bradley. I'm a little busy at my job, but I'm in a turret and I'm kind of protected, and you're probably not. So I'm gonna fuck your shit up. But first, let me put on Bad Boys.
Yeah.
And we're literally fucking. We're only doing like 36 miles an hour, but we're fucking. Wah!
Yeah.
And Bad Boys, bad, and like King, he still doesn't know the words. Yeah, he's been doing that shit the whole time. And it's like,
Didn't they do that shit in Generation Kill?
Yes.
I think that's out of all the like great war miniseries, that's my favorite one.
That's Rudy Reyes. Pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
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 He's a Marine recon guy.
Yeah.
Super
He's
good
the
dude.
Yeah, he was the dude with the sunglasses and shit in the
Super ripped still. He's
miniseries.
Yeah. But there's those miniseries. Some of them are so they did one on the guys who were in Soldier City before us, who were at the same place, and it's called The Long Road Home. It's on Nat Geo. If you get a chance to check it out, there's also a book by Martha Raddatz. So Martha came. Like, she interviewed those because she's like friends with the guys who did this, because they lost a lot of guys in one day, like essentially in a 24-hour period. They got separated from unit. It was in the very beginning. They thought Soldier City was safe. It was not, and it ended pretty badly. And obviously it affected all these families in that unit specifically. But they talked about like the long road home, because it's not just a flight and a vehicle ride to the house. It's you don't necessarily come home right then.
Yeah.
And so it's a great miniseries. I'm real good friends with Borquin. We'll have to have Eric on here. We grew up, fairly similar. And he's a good dude, man. He's out in Texas fishing and jumping out of planes, living a good life. But he's like, he did things. So he was encouraged to take an Arabic class, and he did. And that helped save his guys when he was in Iraq, because he could hear the guys on the other rooftops when they were in there. They're going to kill you, man. And they have no backup. They have nobody to help them. They can't talk to anyone. They don't have a radio. They're fucked. And they're like, hey, where are these guys at? Yeah, better go back. So anyhow, I enjoy some of those miniseries. I know Fawn didn't want me to watch in the beginning because she was worried it was going to trigger me. They rebuilt Soldier City on Fort Hood and filmed it there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Have you heard Soldier City by Corb Lund? Canadian country singer.
No.
He dropped a song, I think in 2020, about Soldier City.
Huh.
That's cool.
Anyone who's ever stepped foot there, like, I'll never forget that I was talking to this guy, and I was in a bar, and he made some, like, I don't remember, it was just kind of off the cuff remark, and I was like, hey, were you in the military? And he was like, yeah, I was in the Army. And I was like, who are you with? And he's like, oh, I was 101st. Did you deploy? Where'd you go? He's like, yeah, it was actually at Fabra Samaya, and we were in Soldier City, and I was like I seen a ghost, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh God, it scared the shit out of me, dude.
Me too. I was like, what is that? Scary. Uh-oh. What was I telling you? That scared me too.
You met a dude in the bar.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
then
and we
the
started
rest of
talking,
mine.
and then so I told him, I was like, I was there too for a year, and it was a shithole. And when you talk to someone from there, you kind of like look them up and down. You missing any pieces? Like,
Yeah.
you look like you're all right, because it's just not. It's not a. You're playing with your fucking life. You're gambling with your life every day, and so I'll give you an example. We get back from that tour. I go down to 122 Infantry. My buddy goes down to 166 Armor. We're in the same brigade. He's in a different battalion, obviously. So he's deploying, and he's going to go right back to the same spot. My unit's going to a different area, and I'm like, damn, how the fuck do you get so unlucky? They're going to send you to, like, in Afghanistan, like the Korangal. Like, how are you going to get sent there twice?
Yeah.
So I go down there. Now, this is my boy Mandracious. So I go down there, and I give Kev a hug. Like, I'm never going to fucking see him again, because I don't think I'm ever going to fucking see him again. He was our driver over there on the first trip, him and Hughes. So now he's going back, but he's going with my buddy Andrade. Now, Rob and I were in AIT together. We were trained to be fisters together. And then in the very beginning, OIF 1 or whatever, him and I are both in 4th ID. OIF, I think it was 3 or 4 by then, whatever the hell it was. So a couple years later, same thing, second trip. Now this is going to be the third trip. You get it. You've been there. You got the T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know how to survive. You know when it's time to go to work so that you can survive, those sort of things. And it never dawned on me, never in a million years, did I think that it would be Rob who didn't come home, and he was fucking killed on that trip, man. And it bothers me for a number of reasons. One, I had pictures of him and I in AIT. I mean, he signed up on 9/11. I signed up on 9/11. We're 3 days apart. It crushes me to know that he's not here.
Yeah.
We had so much in common, and like I just I miss him. And I'm like, it never once crossed my mind that he wouldn't come back just fine. I only thought about Kev in that moment. I went over there, slapped his hand, gave him a hug. All right, man, y'all be dangerous, because I didn't say be safe, right?
Yeah.
Go be dangerous. And it's tough knowing that you have guys who are so selfless, such great leaders, who embody everything, all the values that the Army teaches you. He has that integrity component. He has the honor and the just every single portion of that he embodied. And from loyalty and duty, respect. He always respected guys, younger, older, didn't matter. He would treat you the same. He expected you to do your job, and he would help you if you weren't meeting the standard. He would help you until you did. He would try to get you to a place where you were a good soldier, and you can't buy that kind of stuff, right? So,
well, cheers to him, man.
To Andrade, my fucking boy. He was quiet, man, but he was funny. He taught me. Tell you what he taught me. And this is invaluable. I was underage. I wanted to drink. We go to the bowling alley on Fort Sill. He teaches me how to buy a beer.
Fucking bowling alley, dude.
By the way, I mentioned we're 3 days apart. He teaches me how to take a beer can, stick it in the Pepsi cup, crack open the top, stick the straw through the mouth opening, and put the lid back on, drinking Pepsi. Yeah. No, we are not. And so the pictures that I have are him and I drunk in the barracks, and there's several. I'll send one. We can embed it in here. I'd crawled over on the 3rd floor. I'd crawled over the balcony. There's a little rail above the bricks that were on there. I stuck my feet in between those and would do sit-ups off the 3rd floor, because the like rock hard fister guy was it was painted on the ground there at Charlie 2nd of the 80th, where they used to train fisters for AIT. And so we would do and I have a picture of him doing sit-ups off the 3rd floor. And but that night I had pictures, like when him and I got in, I was pretty lit. Phantom Menace or whatever, the Star Wars had just come out, and
God, I was seeing that in the theaters on my 11th birthday, bro.
Fuck you. All right, so Darth Maul had the cool double fucking saber, and he had these like spikes. So we took shaving cream because at the time I was like bicking my head.
Yeah.
We had took shaving cream and made like little spikes like Darth Maul, and we're drunk talking shit and jumping around the barracks like a bunch of fools. And
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I miss that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's just camaraderie, man.
I had a lot of fun at Fort Sill.
Yeah. Well,
despite that shitty place.
Just don't leave.
Yeah.
Like Lawton is not
No.
a good place. You can probably get a good steak, but you can also get herpes.
That's what I'm saying. Like the food around there,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
They had some good stuff around there.
Yep. I wouldn't go there looking for a wife.
No.
But anyhow, so let's see. What else do we got going on? Oh, Sudan is evacuating the embassy. That's 4 in less than 3 years. Sweet.
Dude.
So I had a buddy who said, well, maybe we shouldn't be in these other countries. And I thought, well, yeah, but which ones are we going to choose that we should be in and not be in? What are we going to do if it's time to leave? Are we going to abandon? There's already been 2 Americans killed there. What are we going to do when the evacuation goes sideways like it did in Afghanistan? We just watched. How are we going to prevent another 13 American families from feeling the same thing the ones from Kabul? Because embassies don't just it's not just the ambassador. Their families come. They have, it can be an issue. They usually have Marines and other people there guarding them, right? So if our leadership, our foreign affairs is so bad that this is what's happening, they're trying to get rid of the dollar. They're like they're coordinating against us, in my opinion, and it sure as hell doesn't feel good. Considering all the money we've given to these fucking countries, by the way.
I have 2 family members in Uganda right now.
Oh.
On a mission trip.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to disparage religion any more than I have already on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But, don't go to Uganda right now.
Yeah.
It's, not far from where all this shit's going down.
That's correct. Oh, I just saw a thing that said that they don't want us going to the Caribbean either. Haiti is not a good place. Apparently, they'll fucking chop you in half with their machetes.
I've literally seen, Twitter being Twitter, right? It's the only social platform other than Reddit, I would imagine, that you can see anything.
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 Yeah.
From porn to violence to whatever. I was just scrolling somehow, some way, and I've seen other people on Twitter saying this too, but there's this Twitter account called Fight Haven, and it's just people getting knocked out in street fights.
Let me go follow.
And it showed up on a bunch of people's shit, and it showed up on mine, and all of a sudden my timeline is filled with fighting videos. But every once in a while someone will post just a fucking horrific video. And I saw one from Haiti where these dudes are in the street and they're swinging at each other, and a dude comes from outside of the frame with a machete and just lops a dude's arm off. The whole arm just falls onto the ground. That's how they're getting down over there, bro. Those gangs.
All right.
Those gangs, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I'm good with that. Listen, so that's why we have the Second Amendment. Get your
I'm
machete.
Good staying right the fuck here, bro, in the United States.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Canada because I want to go to Banff National Forest, I think.
Yep.
I think it's a national forest. But yeah, other than that, dude, I'm good off of any other country.
Yeah, I'll go visit, but I'm not trying to.
I don't
That
even
mass
wanna do
graves in Mexico
that.
at the border. I'm good. I don't want to. I'm cool, man. I'm not trying to push it. Even same thing, Brazil, bro. Brazil, I want to go surfing, but I also don't want to get macheted.
There is nowhere in South America you could convince me to go.
Well, people in Venezuela love us. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
I guess we're not liked in too many places.
How do you fix that, dude?
Well,
How do we fix our foreign relations?
You talk like you're from fucking England, bloody cunt, and then you act like you're not American, and they treat you much better.
Yeah, I guess.
Gotta use a Queen's English.
But
I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know that they don't like us in other countries. They didn't like me. When I was in Korea, I was on the fucking train, And this guy just kept staring at me, like me and two buddies. And he's like staring at me. And eventually I'm like, what's up, bro? So there was a KATUSA, Korean Augmentation United States Army. These guys are Korean folks, got to serve in the military. If you speak English, maybe you can type, got an education, they'll let you come live in the American barracks instead of the fucking Republic of Korea rock army, because they look like jail cells. So this guy's starts cussing at me in Hangul in Korean. And I'm like, bro, I'm from California. There's snow outside. You think I want to be here? I wanted to go to Barbados.
Yeah.
Okay? Somebody fucked up my orders. What are you mad at me for? Right? And he's like, telling me go home. And then he kept calling me Gook, which I really didn't understand. And apparently, like, Miguk in Hangul is American, like shitty American.
That's hilarious.
I thought so too. So this guy's yelling at me, calling me names. And then eventually I'm like, I don't give a fuck you. And then, so he's like, right? And I'm just, he's probably some 30-something-year-old guy. At the time, I'm like fucking 20.
Yeah.
21.
Piss and vinegar.
I'm also, I'm pretty jacked. And this KATUSA guy was like, hey, man, leave him alone. I was like, why aren't you telling him to leave me alone? I didn't stare at him.
Yeah.
I didn't cause any problems with him. And I don't want to fucking be here, which is a lie now, because I love that place, man. Like, looking back, there was so much. Like, first off, I didn't know what bulgogi was. Now I love it.
Shit.
When I first got there,
bro, bulgogi.
only thing I knew on that menu because I get to the unit, I've traveled up from Seoul. I'm at my unit. I get there. They're like, oh, chow hall's closed. You can order from the canteen. I'm like, all right, so Korean canteen. So it's like kind of like a restaurant on the base. They also have a Popeye's chicken, which I used to frequent quite a bit. But until then, Korean canteen. Okay. So I'm looking, sweet and sour chicken. I know what the fuck that is. I ordered me some sweet and sour chicken. The guy gets there. He's on a moped, right? He comes out there. I'm sitting outside. I'm smoking a cigarette. I give him the money, and he hands me this little aluminum to-go thing, and he chopsticks. And I was like, oh, hey, I need a fork. He's like, oh, no fork, chopstick. And I was like, no, I need a fork. He's like, no fork, chopstick. And takes off. And I'm like, oh, no. So I go sit in the day room, and I'm trying to eat this food, and it is not working.
In the fucking hanging room?
Yeah. So I've stabbed a couple pieces of chicken because I'm frustrated, right? So, like, I stab them. But you can't do that with the rice, okay? It's not going to work with the rice.
Yeah.
So my food has gotten cold. But by the end, I'm basically Daniel-san with some chopsticks, and I'm pretty good at it. Also, I don't just love bulgogi. I love all of it. Yakimandu, you name it. I love Korean food.
Have you ever been to the Korean
Kimchi?
barbecue spots where there's barbecue in the table?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, so
That
like Oz is the one that's been
Oz
here
is the
forever.
shit, dude.
But they got like Blue House now. There's several of them. We had Fawn's birthday at one. So we don't drink. Like, I know you guys see me drink a beer on here. This is one beer a month or once every 2 weeks. I don't drink. So Fawn and I, when we go to the Korean place, we will drink like the soju, and it's like the fruity stuff, not like the shit we got in Korea, but we drink soju and sit there and cook food and have a good time. We had our birthday there at the Korean place, and I brought Dave because DK's Korean. So he was in Korea the same time I was. He was in Iraq same time I was, and so he's over there. He's telling them to bring him the shit that's that they eat, whatever. Yeah. Like, yeah, we got all that stuff, and I'm like, what'd you just say? Because he's telling them in Korean. It's always good to have one of those folks just to make sure that they're not spitting in your food. No, he's Dave is awesome. I can't wait to have him on the show. But I love Korean food.
Bro, I got a birthday next month. I've been kind of kicking around the idea of a visit to a Korean barbecue.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
I went to one. My sergeant major was married to a Korean woman, and I was his driver. And he asked, like, so we go to this place. It's like you sit on the ground or on the cushions or whatever around this table, and we're eating all this food. It's like a huge, like they're having a big party because he's married to a Korean woman. They haven't been to Korea for a while, so now her family, her sister owns this restaurant. So we go down there, and it was in Uijeonbu. So we go over there, and we're eating, and he's like, hey, try this. And I was like, what is it? He's like, it's fish. I was like, I don't eat a lot of fish. So he's like, try it. I was like, all right. So I tried it, and it was delicious. He's like, it's blowfish. I just want to make sure she ain't trying to kill me or sister don't like me. Motherfucker. It's like the private, right? You got to pull your mask off first to see if the fucking chemical weapons are going to melt your face off before the rest of the team does it.
Dude, so this cat right next door, Sam Lee Insurance Company.
Uh-huh.
I met him a couple years back, probably like 2018, through one of my bosses. He was trying to set me up with like an insurance agent. And his brother is also an agent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so this one day, me and this other realtor, my buddy Justin, who's like, he's a white boy, right? Right. We go out and meet them, and they are Filipino. And so we go to this spot, and like me and Justin are kind of looking at each other because like his brother was like, yeah, like go order your food or whatever, and I'll pick it up. And so him and I are looking at the menu, nothing's in English, and we're just like, man, I don't know, like what are you gonna get? And so we finally look at him, and we're like, yeah, dude, just like order us some stuff that you would get to somebody eating this for the first time. You know what I mean? Like we don't want anything fucking crazy. You know?
Yeah.
And so this dude brings his stuff back, and it was in a bowl. It was like, it looked like some sort of beef stew to me, of sorts. And he's like, just try a bite. And I was like, all right. So I try a bite. It tastes like jalapenos. That's like all I can taste pretty much is jalapenos. And I was like, I'm a big jalapeno guy. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. So I like wolfed this shit because I was hungry too. And I was like, yeah, so like, what is that? And he was like, well, you see how it's like very dark? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that's pork blood. And I was like, dude, I don't even know what it was to this day, but I know that like it was basically whatever it was just floating around in pork blood, and that's what I fucking ate.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I did not appreciate it. I still don't really. I mean, like
I had season tickets to the Raiders until they left, and my son, myself, and my service dog Atlas, who just passed away, we've talked about him before, the Atlas project from Warfighter Overwatch. But so Atlas and myself and my son would go to every home game. They have mariachi bands out there. It is a party in the parking lot, and a lot of people just go out there and do the tailgating and don't even go to the game. But I would get there early. We would tailgate, and then we would go. Especially because it's so expensive to buy stuff, so I would feed the kid because I know he's gonna want nachos or eat something out of a helmet, nachos or whatever later.
Yeah,
hot dog. All right. So plus I got to drink enough beer to not get drunk, but have a good time, despite the fact that my Raiders are gonna lose. All that shit.
Yeah.
So I digress. We're out in the parking lot. My buddy and I we're tailgating, and there are a lot of Mexican fans that are Raiders, Mexicans that are Raider fans. So this kid and my son become fast friends. They're playing catch with the football out there, and he gives my son crickets and what was the other one?
Probably the mealworms.
Worms? Yeah.
The mealworms, yeah.
So he eats them, likes it, and he's like, Mom, I ate bugs. They're so good. I was like...
So
my kids will eat pretty much anything. They'll try anything at least once, though. I
tried mealworms when I was in grade school.
Yeah.
And I was like, these are disgusting.
Yeah.
They tasted to me like the popcorn jelly beans.
Oh.
Which are...
The Jelly Bellies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you either like them or you don't.
Yeah.
I did not. They tasted like just artificial popcorn to me. But I was going to say... like
it's better than the bad tasting ones.
The second you brought this up, I was going to ask, I was like, I wonder if he's going to bring this to bugs in stadiums. Because there's a lot of stadiums now. It's like over half of the stadiums in the MLB are selling insects as food. Like crickets.
Really?
Yes. Like crickets.
Yeah.
Mealworms.
Yeah.
And then there's one stadium that has like, and I remember we had an exchange student when I was in elementary school too. And they brought these little like tiny minnows. I mean, they were this long, and they were about as wide as like a spaghetti noodle, right? And they just deep fried them whole.
Yeah.
And you would pop those things, kind of like those shrimp, I guess. Yep. They do that with shrimp too.
So on that train, the Korean train, this
Dude,
Guy had a
Asian snacks are another ball game.
Well, they had fish heads, the little fish heads that were same thing. It was like they got some seasoning on them and they're like fried over. They're all dried, dehydrated.
Bro, Asian snacks, like you gotta be tough.
They cook squid on the motherfucking side of the road there, and it stinks so bad. I'm like, I can't eat. It just smells no good.
Meanwhile, here, like you're walking away from country in the park, and there's just a guy fucking grilling glizzies out there on the
like
corner.
Bacon wrap glizzies, baby. I'm a glizzy guzzler.
like I finally got to meet Hot Dog Sharon.
Oh yeah. Yep.
She's awesome.
She is. She's amazing.
And I was thinking like we could do some sick shirts for her, like some sick merch. I want to do a shirt with her where it's like a gangster ass hot dog and it just says slanging glizzies since like 20 whatever, whenever she, you know what I mean?
Yep. I love it.
I picture it now. I mean, like, should we get a hot dog sponsor for the show? We could have like a little bun steamer right here. Dude.
You seen the picture of me, bro. You know I'm all in.
Yes, I did see that picture and I will be overlaying that. You got to go all in on a glizz, dude.
I'm telling you. Like, there's nothing to make me feel better when I'm having a bad round of golf like a glizzy.
Yeah, dude.
That's a hot dog for you losers at home that don't know. Anyhow.
Yeah. The turn glizzy is like one of the most important things in a round of golf. Like you have to, I mean, I call it ahead every time.
Yeah. You know what I do love about, so I will say this. So I smoke weed. For those of the folks at home who don't know that, I smoke marijuana. Okay. And I'm a big advocate for it.
You?
Yeah, me. It's always funny when people don't know. I'm like, you literally haven't talked to me.
I want to get one of those movie posters for the set that's like, it spells marijuana with an H, and it's like the devil's lettuce. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Reefer Madness
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, that Reefer Madness shit.
So when I golf, I walk. I push my car. It's like 6.5 miles of walk around or whatever. I have some elder gentlemen that I play golf with, and I love these guys to death, man. They've kind of adopted me after, because DK and I joined the club together, and then he left, and I stayed. Well, half these guys are Vietnam vets, and then they became like teachers and then principals throughout their careers when they got out of the military, right? And I'm like, I totally would have been in your office. Like, yeah. So I'm smoking weed. By the way, I didn't have like the hand or neck tats when we started, and now they're just like, geez, Danny. I'm like, I know, ain't it great? So, so I'm all tatted up, right? I try to be like one of the best dressed fellas there though, because I like that part. And I'm smoking. I got 2 joints, one on the first nine, one on the back nine. And like Bob, for example, will just get behind me and he'll smell it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you want to hit Bob? And he's like, no. I promised Yvonne back in 1976 that I'd never smoke again. And I was like, why? Bob, I wasn't alive. You're not breaking any promises to me, Chief. And he's just like, no, I can't do it. But I love the smell. And I'm like, roger that. Yeah. So one of the other older guys, though, Larry, he's like, he sees me hit a bad shot. He'll come over there. He's got a little one hitter. He's like, here you go, Danny. He'll load me one up. And he's like, here. So I'll hit it. Thanks, Larry. It's just a gesture, right? Yeah. And I enjoy being out there, doing my thing. It's good for my mental health, to be honest with you. It's self-care. I get to exercise, and it really helps me be resilient. Things aren't going to go my way. I'm going to have adversity. I got to figure out my way around it. It's about letting go of shit, right? And I try to be really good at letting go of the things that aren't going to matter. It's the 5-minute, 5-year rule. 5 minutes, is this going to matter? If the answer is no, then you move on. If the answer is yes, you give it its due diligence, and you ask yourself, is it going to matter in 5 years? If the answer is yes, this might require some attention from me and more focus. If it's not going to matter in 5 years and it's only going to matter in 5 minutes, then I'm just going to give it the little bit of attention it needs and move the fuck on. If it's not going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 years, I don't give 2 shits and I move on with my life. That mentality has done so much for me.
I've not mastered that yet.
I haven't mastered it, but I've implemented it and I use it often because I used to get frustrated at people who didn't use their blinker. I used to get frustrated at all these things that I took personal, that person didn't even care. They cut me off and go about their business. Speaking of, so on my way to go play golf like a week and a half ago, there's a train coming, but it's not a long train. It's literally 3 cars. I don't know what they were doing. They're moving shit. And where the golf course is, I have to turn down on Yosemite, and there's from Eureka or whatever. And so there's like a 18-wheeler. I had gotten in front of him and was going. the speed limit there's 40. I'm probably doing 45. Sounds about right for me. There's 2 lanes, and then becomes a third lane is the turning lane. Turn right there. Well, car speeds around the 18-wheeler, speeds in front of me all the way in the left lane. I'm now in the turning lane. They cut across all the lanes, cut in front of me to cut off this train that's literally 3 cars. It didn't even stop me. I beat the train. The arms hadn't gone down. They didn't even start ringing yet, right?
Yeah.
Like, she pulls right across from me as I park into the country club. For me, generally, if you act like that, you're going to get the horn, the finger, and I consider the matter closed. Unless you feel like something else needs to happen, in which case I'm Ross Perot. I'm all ears, baby. We can have it out. Don't honk at me unless you got time to fight. No. Yeah. In all seriousness, I move on with my life. I don't really give a fuck. But if you're out here acting like an asshole, I'm going to call you out. So this lady sends another guy up to talk to me because she happens to be in the group behind me. I get there an hour early. We have 3 groups in my group, like 3 times. So she's not teeing off for an hour and a half. What fucking hurry was she in?
Yeah.
Right. So this guy Hal comes up and talks to me. Says, "Hey Hal, or hey Danny, did you get cut off this morning?" And I said, "Yeah, by Carol." And I don't think he knew. I either knew who she was or whatever. And I thought that was even more funny because he was like, "Oh, yeah. Hey, she apologizes." And I said, "Then what are you doing here, Hal?"
Yeah.
I learned a couple things. First off, Carol is not young. That means that this is not a first-time offender here.
Yeah.
Okay? She thinks that she can treat people like shit. She's entitled to do whatever she wants, and damn be those who get in her way. All right. I got that. But now I know that her character is really crappy because she won't even come apologize in person, take accountability, and, whatever. Instead, she sent someone else to do it. And I'm like, you know what? It reminds me that being a good person and being kind, it really matters, right? And so I told Hal, like, listen, I consider the matter closed. This is not going to affect my life. But she knows now that not only was she acting the fool, she got caught by someone she's going to have to see.
Yeah.
And she'll probably die before me. So, it's important that you never know who's watching. Doing the right thing costs $0. And it's important because I want my kids to do the right thing. If my 16-year-old was driving like that, take her car and keys. But when you're 75, ain't a whole lot I can do about it. I just move on with my life. But you know that I know that you know that you're an asshole. And that's it.
Be ashamed if she fell in the shower, dude.
She might break a hip, bro. You don't want to wish that evil on her.
I know. I was going to say that, and then you said she was 75, and I debated it.
It was a guess. She's probably 76.
Don't be a dick, dude.
Yeah, I could have been. I could have went back there and said, you know what, Hal, let's go back there right now. Let's go talk to her. I was like, not worth my time. I'm busy. I'm about to smoke another joint and hit some more balls. This is fun.
I don't know what I would have done in that situation. Like,
when she pulled in right across from me, she immediately got out of her vehicle and walked it. Like,
honestly, like I would have so many questions. Like,
yeah, why would you do that?
Well, but when she was like, "Hey, go up there and apologize to him," he was just like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And he fucking got in his cart and came up to you. How weird.
Well, I'll say this: she doesn't know me.
How old was he?
He's like 60.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's true. It's also like.
Well, so
it's 2023 and we're like covered in tattoos.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A little bit different.
She might have been.
She's older,
scared, right?
Yeah.
And like people are intimidated or scared by me. I get it. Like, I mean, I don't give a fuck, but I get it.
I don't even have a throat tat or hand tats, and I get that.
But
vibe.
You have tattoos.
I get that vibe from people sometimes. I told you about the lady that was at the golf course when I was on opposite sides of her son. She's just following her practice, and we both pushed our shots. And so we wound up. I was on the right side of my fairway. He was on the right side of his, and we were next to each other. And so I was walking to my ball, and or I was in a cart. They were walking. And so I pull up, and I'm looking for my ball, and I get like 12 feet from her. And she was like, "This is my son's ball." And I was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
Like, all right. Like, I'm looking for, TaylorMade one or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just keep looking. She's like, "You're looking for a ball?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, we're
and
golfing.
I look at my cart, and I look back at her. And she literally looks me up and down. She goes, "You don't look like a golfer." And I definitely asked her what the fuck she meant by that.
Yeah.
So I had not mastered. I didn't even know about the 5-year rule at that point.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck do you mean by that? And she was just like, and she like turns around and puts her, like grabs her husband's arm. And I was just like, oh my God. I picked up my ball and I just drove off. I had an incident a couple weeks ago. Oh, dude. I had an incident a couple weeks ago at a fishing pond. So I did not handle this well. This dude, like, we pull up at a place where it is private, but we had gotten permission to go there.
Mhm.
And matter of fact, we were meeting a resident of this place, and these 3 kids are walking out, and so I don't even have my shit out of the car or anything. My dad's like back at the car. My dad was here too, and I was like, how's it fishing out there? And there was like, it's pretty good, man. We caught a few. But he was like, you know, keep in mind, there's like, I turn around, we talk about fishing for like 3 minutes, and I turn around and start walking back toward the car, and one of the kids goes, hey man, just so you know, fucking Karens are out in full force. And I was like,
Oh, the kid knows.
here we go.
Yeah.
And I turn around, and just as I turn around, I see this guy come from around the corner, and he's like charging us, and I'm the closest between him and these guys. These boys are like 20 feet to my left.
Yeah.
This guy is at 20 feet to my right and closing in quickly, and he's walking like very aggressive.
Yeah.
And so I went like flight or fight, and I just turned and looked at him, and the first words out of my mouth, I was like, what, are you gonna fucking hit me? That's what I said. Like, he's walking up to me, and like, I literally, as I said that, I was like, in my mind, I was like, ugh, I was like trying to pull those words back in, but it was too late, dude. And he's like, which one of you talked to my wife? And he comes up to me, and he's like fucking poking my chest. He's right in my face, dude. And I was just like, dude, I swear to God, I was like, you don't want this, man.
Yeah.
And like, it devolved very quickly from there. And I eventually just got back in the car and fucking sped off, dude. But apparently those boys had said something to the guy's wife.
Right.
I don't know what he said, but like, as we're pulling away, this guy's like fucking videotaping me and shit. And I was just like, fuck you and your wife, or something like that, dude.
Yeah.
As we're taking off. Well, he knows a guy we were going there to meet. So then we get a phone call a couple of minutes later. He's like, hey man, so-and-so just came in from across the way and said that like there was an altercation out by the lake. I told him there's no way that was you guys. And I was like,
no way.
I was like, let me stop you right there, man. I was like, this was me. And like, dude, I just had to fucking eat it.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was wrong.
That's the best thing to do, though.
Well, yeah, dude, there's 2 times to tell someone you fucked up, like when you fucked up or when you fixed it. I hadn't fixed it yet. And I was talking to him. So I was just like, dude, yeah, this is what happened. It devolved very quickly. Guy was super fucking aggressive. I was like, there's like 14-year-old kids, me, and this guy's fucking charging me and accusing me of calling his wife a bitch or something. I was like, we literally, the car wasn't even off. I don't know who the fuck this dude is, but I was like, at the same time, man, like, I can't accept 100% of the responsibility for that situation.
Yeah.
Like, I told that dude, like, when he was a good distance from me to back the fuck off, and then he was in my fucking grill all of a sudden. So, yeah, not a good situation. I need to remember the 5-minute, 5-year rule, because if I had half a second to think about that, I would have been like, oh, fuck this guy. It was probably them. No, you know,
Dude, I'm default aggression. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hard for me to do this stuff, but I know I watch Fawn do it with such poise. Like, she kills people with kindness, and she's like snarky, and she does it when she's right, which makes it worse if you're wrong, because like you said, you can either own up to it, right? But like, some people don't want to be held accountable, which obviously that lady didn't when she, after she cut me off. And I don't care about all that, because you didn't cause me, I didn't get in an accident. My health is fine. I'm going to hit balls. But I know you lack good character.
Yeah.
I know you lack
hear me out. Backbone. Dude.
I was going to say, it could have been rectified very quickly, but all the things that happened, she didn't apologize after she cut me off. She didn't be like, oh, sorry. She didn't apologize when she pulled in across from me. She didn't apologize when she was behind me at the turn. She sent someone else to do it. It lets me know everything I need to know. Yeah. So most of the time, like I have fucked up a lot in my life, and I've had to eat crow. It doesn't taste good. So it's like the whole shit sandwich. The more bread you have, the less shit you eat. That ain't it. I've eaten a lot of shit sandwiches, and you know what? Good, because I needed it. I joke sometimes. You hear some guy peel out or whatever. And when I was 16, I drove like an asshole for sure. I sped. I was dumb. And now, like my kids, they hear me like, "Oh, I didn't think you were cool until you did that," right? Like I joke because I know that driving is like the most dangerous thing most people do on a daily basis, right? And when you drive like shit, there's already all these deaths, all these things. I'm good. That's why I like it.
I've always been way too afraid of cars to drive like an asshole, dude.
I got hit by a car when I was 5, left in the middle of the street with a broken collarbone.
Damn.
I was 5. Like, who leaves a 5-year-old kid laying in the middle of the street? Apparently, it was an off-duty cop. He was like, "Fuck that." But some lady had a brick phone and called the cops on him. I'm excited to keep this going, man. I appreciate you being here and getting this thing looking all beautiful like it is.
Yeah, it looks sweet, man. We're just gonna keep refining it.
We'll ignore the Karens and move on with our life and enjoy our happiness, because they're really just projecting their miserable state, and misery loves company, and I don't really want to join them in that crap. So we'll keep life's a garden. You gotta dig it.
Well, dude, and like, how much does it suck for sweet ladies named Karen? You know, they get a bad rap.
They do. But hopefully she'll see the light. Yeah. But if not, I'll keep doing the right thing anyways. Appreciate you, brother.